Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, the climate guy setting the record straight about climate. This video is about expert forecasts of sea level rise. We're being constantly bombarded by forecasts of catastrophic sea level rise, including images like this showing what Manhattan would look like if it was under 100 feet of water. These forecasts are based on the old biblical concept that a huge flood will come if we continue our sins. In this case, it's our carbon sins. Let's look at the track record of the people making these predictions and see how they've done in the past. In 1995, the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change predicted that most of the beaches on the east coast of the United States would be gone in 25 years. That would be by the year 2020, or 3 years from now. Well, that forecast was a complete disaster. Let's see how they've done with some of their other ones. In 1988, the United Nations made another prediction about the Maldives. Sea level is threatening to completely cover this Indian Ocean nation of 1,196 small islands within the next 30 years, according to authorities. That would be by the year 2018, or next year. So far, 0 of the 1,196 islands are underwater. And they also predicted that they would be out of water by 1992. Well, that prediction didn't work out very well either. Let's see what else they've done. Here's another one from James Hansen, the world's top climate alarmist, the scientist who in 1988 predicted the greenhouse effect before Congress. A writer from Salon interviewed him, and this is what he wrote. I went over to the window with him, James Hansen, and looked out on Broadway in New York City and said, if what you're saying about the greenhouse effect is true, is anything going to look different down there in 20 years? He looked for a while and was quiet and didn't say anything for a couple seconds. Then he said, well, there'll be more traffic. I, of course, didn't think he heard the question right. Then he explained, the West Side Highway, which runs along the Hudson River, will be underwater. When did he say this would happen? Within 20 or 30 years. And remember, we had this conversation in 1988 or 1989. Does he still believe these things? Yes, he still believes everything. I talked to him a few months ago, and he said he wouldn't change anything that he said then. So the world's top climate expert predicted that Lower Manhattan would be underwater between 2008 and 2018. It's getting pretty difficult to take these people seriously. So are there real examples of sea level rise causing catastrophic effects? Well, yes, there are. Here's an article from the BBC from 2002 about a lost city. Marine scientists say archaeological remains discovered 36 meters or 120 feet underwater in the Gulf of Cambay could be over 9,000 years old. So we know that sea level has risen 120 feet over the last 9,000 years. That was long before the invention of the sport utility vehicle. In fact, sea level rose very quickly from 20,000 years ago to about 8,000 years ago, and since then it's been rising very slowly. Clearly, it has nothing to do with humans. Now let's look at what's been going on in Manhattan since all these dire predictions were made. NOAA has a tide gauge right in Lower Manhattan, and it shows that sea level is about the same now as it was 20 years ago. It's pretty clear at this point that all these predictions by experts were wrong. They have no idea what they're talking about, and they have no basis in science. Richard Feynman, the great physicist, said, "It doesn't matter how beautiful your theory is. It doesn't matter how smart you are. If it doesn't agree with experiments, it's wrong." Visit Toto on the web at realclimatescience.com. He's been pulling back the curtain on junk science for a long time.